It's interesting because, I mean, personally, I love the telehealth. I love the fact that I don't have to drive to a doctor's office and sit in there and, kill 2 hours of my time for a 5 minute assessment. That said, I think there's probably some care that can only be done via a patient, via a doctor's office. There's some tests that you need to go in person for. A lot of the assessments that a clinician might want to make, whether that's body weight, visibly, looking at a patient's body, collecting blood pressures, things like that, need to be in person. That said, I do think that telehealth is likely, here to stay, especially for some therapeutic areas versus others. I think we've seen a huge rise in the mental health usage of telehealth. Definitely others as well. It's interesting because when we wrote this paper, one of the critical issues was the switch from typical medical assessments to telehealth. And so I took it upon myself to take a look at the literature and see, well, is it effective? Where is it effective? Who's it effective in? And the literature is still fairly mixed. I found a systematic review of reviews. It's a funny thing to say, but it was a systematic review of other reviews. 80 different reviews made it in here. And of those, about a quarter found that telehealth was effective. A quarter found that there was some suggestive evidence, but it was unclear. And the other half of it really had incomplete or non-positive findings. That said, I still can't take much away because when I started digging through those studies, the types of clinicians using it, the type of therapies being used, what they called telemedicine, all of the different diseases being incorporated here, there was such heterogeneity. I don't know that there's an easy takeaway. And I do think that over the next year or so, we're going to be seeing more and more studies come out to say, does it work here? Does this type of teletherapy work? Does this teletherapy work better than this one? And really understanding the factors associated with effective telehealth. I don't think we're there yet. I think it's starting to come out. And those insights, I think, will help to drive whether we're going to overuse it or potentially that we're not even using it enough. I have seen some papers here that have talked about low value care, really more tied to the overuse of services and procedures and such that maybe don't have a lot of benefit or cause, result in patient dissatisfaction compared to their utility and their benefit. It seems like things like potentially some screenings, diagnostic tests, some laboratory tests, use of antibiotics, overuse of antibiotics. There are a list of things that I think that are being evaluated now that I've seen in, I think, New England Journal, Health Affairs, a number of these others where we have thought leaders talking about assessing this, but I have not seen results come through yet. And given that I'm an epidemiologist and not someone who specializes in, say, managed care or even health economics per se, it's tough for me to answer that question, but I do expect that that will be one benefit of this pandemic. We likely will find out some of the services we really didn't need and or provided very low utility or marginal benefit. I don't know what those answers are yet. I gave a couple of examples, but those are all secondhand from what I've read from the experts in this field.